Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Less Known Classics. This is episode number 2951 and Doubleshot number 2845. Got two Marvel trades, and the other ones I checked off my pull-up this month. First of which we have Gambit, The King of Thieves, The Complete Collection, which collects all 17 issues of Gambit Volume 5, along with a story from A plus X, which involves him teaming up with, I think it's Hawkeye, for a story. Yep. Now, the writer for everything in this whole book is done by James Olmos. Yes, he's the writer for these issues. Now, the first 4 issues are written by Clay Mann with Leonard Clark, who does issues 3 to 4 with him. And of course, Seth Mann is here too, which I did ask Clay Mann about this guy. It's his brother. 5 through 7 is Dio Knives with Al Barino. 8 is Pucko Curry, Dave Ball and Clay Mann. Billy Tan, the veteran writer he is, he does issue 3. Billy Tan does it if you're not familiar with him. This is the guy who created the character She, S-H-I. A woman who, in her first comic book, basically decided to meditate butt naked. Yep. Of course, still have Clay Mann here with Leonard Clark, Paco Medina, and Dr. Soy. 13 has Amilcar Pina. 14 is Kyle Film. Clay Mann again for issues 15, 16, and 17. Though he does it with Jay Liston and Toledo. So the cover art for these issues is most of them are Clay Mann, who does pretty much the first 4 issues, 8 through 13, and 15 and 17. 5 through 7 is basically done by Terry Rachel Dotson. The 8 plus X is done by Miguel and David Carroll. And 7 Rooks does issue 14. So mostly Clay Mann does pretty much all the issues. They only do who does cover for issue 6. Oh, they do, yeah. So all the issues 5 through 7 pretty much does all and 14. So the whole thing in this one is that Gambit is invited to a party. Now, the only reason why... Now, this other key... Now, the people who wrote this don't like him because he's a mutant. They have no choice but invited because Gambit is the king of the Thieves Guild. Yep. That's the only reason why he's here, because he's a thief. And he meets this woman with tattoos on her arm, which the name is Jolene. Jolene, I think her name is. Now, she is somebody who is kind of Gambit's love interest in this book, despite the fact he has a thing for Rogue. And throughout the book, he's following her, and of course, basically, he ends up stealing something from the host, which gets put into his body, and then he has to go to the UK to go steal something, where he runs into Excalibur from the Captain America 13 comic. By the way, this book came out in 2012. So this was roughly I think it was just a few years after the MI13 comic ended. So here's Excalibur here. The female Excalibur here for a quick appearance. And of course you have Gambit meeting a few people, which they put this out in the book, they've never mentioned before. Never. Despite the fact that they've been around for about the same period of time. So aside from Excalibur, the first major character he meets in this book is Pete Wisdom. Which Pete points out, though, that they know each other by reputation, but they've never met each other before in person. Which, gotta hand to James Olmos for that. That was actually really cool in that part. And he's not the only one. And of course, they catching the criminals he has to force to work with. And then eventually he runs into Tombstone. You know, the villain from Spider-Man comics. Yes. Now I'm thinking, I get maybe Pete Wisdom because he's a mutant and he's associated with the X-Men because of Excalibur. But Tombstone? Why? It doesn't make any sense. Also, this woman gets killed off toward the end of the book. And I theorized that the reason the book didn't last very long after this was because she died, because she's a cool character. Another thing I theorized because he got involved with fairy stuff. And that probably was a turn off a lot of people for this book. But this book is just really good. It has a really cool ending with him having a meeting with the King of Thieves Guild discussing what should we steal. Ending the series. Well, this volume anyways. But this book is just pure awesomeness. And of course, basically, I have referred to the time period this came out as the second era for me, because the first era period of time for me was from 2004 to 2012. This is probably the second era because this is published after AVX. Basically, from 04 to basically AVX, that's the first era. Everything after AVX to Secret Wars is from 2012 to 2015. This is during the second era. The third era is basically from 2015 to present. That's basically where we're in right now. We're in the third era because it's everything post Secret Wars. Because of all the massive relaunches. But overall, like I said, an excellent book. Clayman himself does an excellent job with the artwork, and of course, James Amos, great job with the writing. The book is a lot of fun. If you're a Gambit fan, check this book out. And with that also, I have only 2 more volumes to discuss for Gambit, that being volumes 3 and 4. 3 being the longest volume of 25 issues, while the second longest has got to be volume 4, 12. Next up we have is Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099, which is a 5-issue miniseries. I think released just like a year ago, I think it was. This was the second to most recent miniseries they released for Spider-Man 2099. Now, here's a fun fact about this book. Issue 3 was deemed by Marvel Legacy Numbering to be Spider-Man 2099's 100th issue. It's a double-sized issue, but it doesn't have like multiple stories. And it goes, normally, when they do these big triple-digit issues, Marvel does this thing where they have multiple stories in the actual issue itself. This one, no, it just gives me. It basically 2099 meeting characters who didn't ever before, and this, of course, is after the events of the Dark Genesis miniseries, which that was where you met Carnage 2099. Now, of course, you have Steve Orlando doing the writing here with these artists. Every issue's got different artists for reasons. We have, for issue 1, Demonaya Palmach. 2, Michael Dowling. 3, Jason Moore. 4, Chris Campina. And 5, Stefano Raffo. The cover artist for issues 1, 3, and 5 is Aguirre, and the other 2 issues 2 and 4 is Jim Campbell. So in the opening issue, they have it where the main story takes place. Like, we go back, like there's a date step going on here. There's zombies. Basically, it's Miguel O'Hara where he encounters like a lot of stuff about this. Like in 5 issues, there's a lot of stuff happening here. I do mean a lot. Here, the 110th Street have basically Miguel jump out some woman. And then we see this place called the Borough. The public eye officials want him to not go in. But then, of course, he's told basically that that Officer DeWolf owes him a favor, so let him go through no problem. If they go, Officer DeWolf, is this guy a distant relative of Gene DeWolf? It is possible, but they're not going to here. So he goes in and sees all this webbing stuff around. And then he sees basically a bunch of monsters attacking him. And then we have this other guy fighting him too. Also a lot of zombies. It's like a horror book, this one. So then, of course, he goes on Sunlight, and of course, he deals with a woman. And then he meets up with 29 Ghost Rider. We'll make a quick cameo here. And then issue 2, he proceeds to go to space.
Pizza supper's on the table.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. Looks like I'm have to stop right here and come back because early supper.